Hello and welcome to Who Dares Rolls. I am your host, Mike B, and here we are. Sorry, I'm scattershot of episodes. I'll be honest with you, 'cause I've been busy at work. It's hot, the kids. It's just life has found a way to disrupt my video recording things. It's baking hot. I'm in the garage. It's really, really warm, but I'm going to get a video up where I can because her indoors has gone camping with the wee man after his birthday the other day, which we're going to later on, and so they've gone camping. So I'm on my own, home alone with the dog. The dog is down here. It's very hot, so he's having a nap, but we'll see how that goes because he may wake up. He really looks settled, but yeah, I won't say his name. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, there's all that. So that's what's going on. So apologies for lack of consistent videos. There is the Batman one I need to edit. I might try and get that done this weekend. And stuff. Not much else to report. It's just busy. I don't know. It's really busy. Just never seem to have any free time at the moment. Anyway, we're doing this now. That's it. With all that said and done, let's get into played. Played games. So previously it was a bit of a clusterfuck because everyone got COVID. So I've covered over the last couple of weeks. I met up with Ben on the Friday of last because just Ben was the only one free of COVID at that point in time, and he was going out of his gourd, wanted to play some games. So we played some two-player games. So we played Caverna with the Cave Folk expansion. I think that's what it's called, but it gives you asynchronous characters. Different races that you can play with. So we played that. I don't mind Caverna. It's a worker placement based on kind of Agricola, but nicer, not so vicious. Hardened Agricola players hate it because they think it's got nerfed. It's got all the meanness taken out of it. I don't mind it. It is allegedly sort of safe, soft, sort of a worker placement. I don't have an issue with it. The expansion adds these asynchronous powers. We played with a couple, which actually randomly we picked, ended up being the two which were probably the dullest when we came to look at the others, what were available. We'd held off before because it kind of overcomplicates it, but it's not that overcomplicated. Anyway, we played that. I think Ben won. I'm pretty sure Ben won. They had an interest. They had a juicy edge to it. I enjoyed what they were doing. I'm not the world's biggest Caverna fan, but I'll play it if it's there, and I think actually I like what this expansion does, and I would probably be interested to play it with the more fruitier elements at another time, which I'm sure we will when Ben does it. But we played that. We also played Seven Wonders. I'm going to say Duel. I'm not sure if that's what it's called. It's a two-player version of Seven Wonders. Seven Wonders, if you've not played it, is a drafting game. It's one of the old classics now. Everyone starts with a hand of cards, you draft it round, and then you kind of fight or build a civilization over these various rounds and wonders and stuff. You're doing all that. It's all basically card drafting, playing cards out, and you kind of interact with your neighbours and build stuff. It's quite cool. Lots of iconography and cards. Once you understand what you're doing, very easy. So I don't play many two-player games, but obviously Ben had this, and I don't mind Seven Wonders. I went into it thinking, okay, well, Seven Wonders is cool. This actually changes quite significantly. It isn't drafting now really as such of cards, but more you have cards on the table that you draw, and they kind of are set in a pyramid style, so you pick them and they kind of go up. So what you pick is opening up other stuff for other people. So you kind of strategically are like, if I take that, it opens those up for him. And he's going to get those cards. So it's kind of drafting, but weirdly in a different way. I really enjoyed it, actually. I thought it was really good. I got absolutely trounced because Ben got just some really good cards early doors. You're basically fighting over a fight track, which gives this a fucking counter moves up and down. And depending how far you push it one way or the other, is depending how many points you or your opponent will get. So as you'll get beaten down, it comes your way, and if it ever reaches a certain point, the game is over. And likewise, you're trying to push it back that way to cause him more penalties and give you more points. It's basically how it is, this push-proof stuff, and it's played over these 3 rounds of these different decks of cards played out that you're picking stuff from. Anyway, yeah, I really was really good. I was pleasantly surprised by it. I quite enjoyed what it was doing. In fact, I think some ways better than Seven Wonders. If they did a larger player version of it, I think I'd be on board for that. But yeah, I did enjoy that. So we played that. Then the weekend of that, the Sunday, me and Robbie, who then managed to recover because he was being a bit of a drama queen, was finally, we sat down, we played My Father's Work, and we played one of the scenarios. I think it was I can't remember, Time of War possibly. I don't know, but we played one of the other ones we haven't played with the working app. Two of us, it still played long. I think it was still about 3 hours because it was a bit more teachy-elved and Robbie was having an embolism more times than not. So My Father's Work, just because we're going to come back to it again, because we played it again, a 4-player game of it last night with, I think the Time of War actually won again. We played a couple anyway now. Okay, so out the gate, it's brilliant. The actual mechanisms of it are quite simple. It is a worker placement game. You're set with so many worker placement characters at the start. One of them is your character, one's your spouse, and one's like a caretaker, like the Igor character. And their bases are shaped different ways in what their abilities where they can action stuff. So the Igor can only, without any advancements, only do stuff in your estate, which is you making experiments or storing information and stuff. You're essentially trying to build an engine by completing experiments, which we can either then trade in the knowledge, which is as cubes. You can either trade them and bank them, so you've got them in reserve, or you can use them to complete other experiments another way. Banking them is kind of the sensible option. You are given at the start of the game a masterwork, a card that is a level D, technically, experiment. So they go A's, B's, C's, and then my master's work. To complete that, you will have had to complete 1A, 2 B's, and 3 C's experiments. They all have to be completed to allow you to do that. So it's a kind of, you're playing it through the game to get to. The game is done over 3 generations, and at the end of every generation, you're allowed to store one of these completed experiments that pass on to your siblings, your next thing, and it plays out in that way. So the actual mechanisms of it are very straightforward. You're basically drafting or pulling cards, you're playing them out to generate stuff to then do more experiments. Every game there is, in the middle, there's a book that works as the board, and essentially it gives you locations you can visit depending on that scenario, and they will be, I don't think, simple things. They will just give you a resource or money or other characters or all sorts. They do stuff and they change. All of this mutates and change because linked to all this with the app is this story of Gothic horror, this enveloping, multifaceted journey you're going on. Your choices and decisions you make during the game, and everyone does, will alter the storyline and alter the world that you're playing in. And I think there's at least 8 different endings to each of these, so there's different various paths you can go down. And each comes with a separate scenario box, which has extra components that are added into the game you play with that scenario. I shall pause. So yeah, that's it. Basically, very simple worker placement, simple-ish, with an engine builder thing going on, with this Gothic horror storyline over the top of it, and this generational passing information down. I really, really enjoy it. I was tempted by it when I saw it on Kickstarter. I liked Abomination, and I like the idea of this more sort of larger scale version of this thing, and it plays really well. I mean, the app works really well, and there's been criticism against it, and I can take some of the criticism, I understand it. A lot of the passages and text in it are quite overwrought written, but it's kind of a homage to that style of literature at that time. But there is a significant amount of reading involved, and this, but all for this story, this enveloping story that goes on, and it's quite interesting. You need to take note of what's going on because it does play parts in the overbranching narrative. There is voice over just for the start scenarios of each bit. One of them's a female voice and a male voice, and I know the male voice was Mr. Ben Maddox. We know he's been on some of the live podcasts and live shows, and it's very obvious when you hear him, and his voice is pretty good. He enunciates very well. He's an actor. He does a good job. The female voiceover, she's just sounds like almost like an AI. It's clipped and it's fast and it has no to it. It's a bit flat. So Ben's is the best of the two. However, it is only for this one big chunk of text. So, I don't know. Not a major issue. We're reading it. Most of the other bits are smaller, but it is the thing in my mind. And I will say that's the thing to bear in mind. It will play long. 2 players, we at least had a 3-hour game. 4 players, you're talking all evening, 4 to 5 hours. It really does drag on. Well, it doesn't drag, because actually, if you're into the story and you're into what's going on, it tears along. And actually, the actions you're doing between rounds, once you get the hang of it, that within reason flips along fairly fast. Unless you're Robbie and you've had a fucking embolism at the table, and because that happens last night. Oh my God, could have shot him. But yeah, so that's it. I really enjoy it. I think it's really good. It captures that Gothic horror thing. I love the variety of the stories. We played a couple of them, and in one of them, we ended up in a post-apocalyptic landscape complete with Thunderdome and battling robots and post-apocalyptic steampunk shit going on. And I've looked at some of the components of some of the boxes we've got, and there's so much of it that we've not touched at all, which is really exciting, because you think, wow, there's more down that route what we can go. So just we've not made the right decisions there. So that'd be interesting to explore that and get out of it. And the thing is, I've played it now 4 to 5 times, I think, maybe even more, I don't know. And it isn't getting boring. I'm really enjoying it. I love the mechanisms are great. It's a great game there. Take away all the story and all that, it's still a really interesting conundrum to play out. If you like your worker placements with the engine buildery stuff going on, it hits the sweet spot. On top of that, the cherry on the top of that is the storyline. Yes, there is a lot of text. Yes, it goes on a bit. But if you're engrossed in the story, then you know what, you can put that aside. And I've seen enough of it now. There is so many different varieties of what storyline can play out. And then we didn't see. I've played, I think, at the Time of War, we played at least 2 to 3 times, and I've seen 3 different story versions on that. The other one we played different storylines. So there's definitely replayability coming back to it, and almost the point of, you know, you want to explore other options when you've had a look at it. Really good. I'm fascinated to play more because I want to see what else can happen. It was only Kickstarter only. It was exclusive. It isn't going to retail other than retailers that backed. I would say at this point, if any of that is of interest to you, you probably want to make sure you grab one, because I don't know how easy this is going to be able to get hold of. Because it was at Gen Con. I imagine they've got stock. It can be ordered from Renegade Store. I'm sure there's a few retailers in the UK with it. But it is eventually going to run out unless, I imagine, they do a second Kickstarter. But for the time being, if any of that is interest, and it is very good, and if you like the Gothic Horror and you like the storytelling game and you like all the things, it's fucking good. It's a thumbs up, whatever they would do in one of the fucking posh grown-up videos. But yeah, it comes highly recommended. I really enjoy it. It is long. I don't give a shit. I really enjoy the story it's doing and the different options and the stuff, and I want to explore it more. I'm not bored of it. I'm happy to get that back, and I will play it again and again and again. So yeah, Renegade, TC Petty, the designer, knocked it out of the park. Yes, there's some niggles. The app voiceover is a bit shit. Yes, there could have been a bit more done to that. But, you know, World Your Oyster, there's options down the road. They can definitely do stuff. I would imagine that Renegade are going to revisit this at some point, either with extra expansion stuff or something. It seems likely. But there we go. Really good. My Father's Work. Highly recommended. Fucking good stuff. What else did we play? So we played Blood Rage. We had a 4-player game of that. We played that for a while. Love a bit of Blood Rage. I think I absolutely fucking destroyed everyone at the table, if I remember rightly. Jamie had a fucking awful match. I found with Blood Rage, it does one of the 2 ways. You either have a cracking match or you have an awful. I essentially used some of the low-key strategy, which is losing troops to gain extra glory at the end of the game, and I was just a glory producing machine, and they allowed me to get the cards in the draft to do that. Love Blood Rage. Probably Eric Lang's most solid good theme and worker placement. Dudes on the map, Viking theme, heavy metal, wah. It is a fucking great game. I've rumours of another expansion, or Blood Rage 2 I've heard going around. But yeah, of all the 3 Cool Mini or not games of the mythology games, I think Blood Rage stands head and tails as probably the best one, although Ankh is very good for different things. It's like that. But I think Blood Rage for accessibility and get to the table and play and fast and loose and rah, metal type shit. It's really good. I really enjoy it. Yes, it's overproduced. Yes, there's ridiculous, huge miniatures in it. Yes, there's a cool mini game. Yes, all of those things. I can't deny it. And I've fallen out of love with Cool Mini, as we know. However, still a fucking cracking game, and one of his best. Well worth a look. And Res Arcana, we played a 4-player game in that, and I love a bit of Res Arcana. It's a drafting, engine building game, but always puts these tight restrictions on you. And again, we played it again. I don't think I won. Can't remember, but I really just enjoy that, what it does, what it sets the table of, like, you've got this problem, you've got these limitations, what are you going to do with it? Jamie, I know, went down a cul-de-sac and essentially just wasn't generating anything other than resources, but no points. But yeah, it's a good one. It's always different every time. Lots of variability, that word. in it, and it's relatively inexpensive and it's good fun. If you've not got it, it's one I always tick it as a really worth looking, and the expansions for it also pretty fucking good. Fuck me, that was a lot, wasn't it? So we played a lot in the last couple of weeks, and I can probably play some more games on Sunday. So there we go. That is all of that. Let's do some news. Here is the news. Gen Con happened last week. I'll be honest with you. I was a bit busy, so I didn't really have a lot of opportunity to track a lot of what's going on. However, I'm left generally with the feeling that not actually a lot went on. Because nothing's really been screaming at me on the interwebs, either on Facebook groups or on Twitter or anything else. I'm not seeing it like this deluge of really cool things, which kind of is a reflection a little bit on where things have gone a bit south and the industry and the big players, the likes of Asmodee, getting involved in FFG. Because normally FFG going to Gen Con was an event. And you had at least 2 or 3 bits of news drop, and they showed off some cool shit, and you were like, whoa, and something good came out, and then you were set for the rest of the year with some other cool shit. And I don't feel that happened this year, if at all. I don't know, unless I missed something, but there really isn't that buzz anymore, which is a shame, because I really used to enjoy that FFG buzz. They used to put out some pucker license and good product, and you'd see it, and they take a few wide swings, and you'd be like, oh, there was always something that was at the end of that, and to get excited for whatever that or coming or end of the year, and as far as I'm aware. So what we did get was Twilight Inscription, which is their big Gen Con release. It was in limited numbers, people were getting it, but it was hard to get a hold of, which is a roll and write version of Twilight Imperium. I've been on the fence on this. I did have a chance to look at a couple of videos over the last week on it, because I'm enticed, just wondered. And my takeaway is from it, I don't think it's for me. So it essentially each player has 4 player boards in front of them that you will mark off stuff on it. They can be all the same, or you can flip them all to different sides to make it asynchronous boards for everyone. You basically turn cards every round, and it activates. You pick one of these 4 boards you activate, and then you use the symbols on the card to scratch off and do stuff on that board. There's some free dice rolled which have symbols, which again you scratch off and activate stuff on there. And you're essentially either unlocking resources that you can use maybe on other boards, Sudoku type puzzles, or building ships, which is making lines. It's all kind of that standard roll and write stuff. But it's spread over these 4 boards with a lot of shit going on all of them. And it plays along by all counts. I think the teach is about an hour initially on it, and then once you're rolling, you can do it faster. So the issue is, if it was a short, quicker version of Twilight Imperium, then I would be on board, because I love a bit of Twilight Imperium. The opportunity to play a shorter version of that, if you don't have the time, I understand it may be limited. I'm possibly interested, but this doesn't seem to do it. It is this sort of thing that's not for no one. It's maybe too complex for fans of roll and writes, and it's too long, because normally my idea of a roll and write is something you get out and play, and you can probably portable, and you can play in under an hour, whereas this is going to play for hours, and it's complex, and there's lots of boards and lots of stuff. It apparently doesn't, and from my look, it doesn't really have that evoke Twilight Imperium. It's this very much economy driven stuff of you taking stuff and things, and it just gets very complex, and the feeling I get is eventually you get to a point you don't even know what am I fucking doing, I forgot I had that unlocked. Just seeing that just gives me shudders, because I've got Robbie in the group who will have mistakes regularly in games, and just is a fucking walking disaster zone. You have to have one eye on him at any given moment, A, for his own safety, and B, just in case he makes one too many mistakes. Tony will just descend into AP hell, and this looks like he would just fry, because he's going to be engrossed in trying to build his most min-maxed engine thing, and I could just see it being hell sat there just waiting for him to play battleships over there, and Robbie trying to rub out stuff from 3 rounds ago because he's going to mulligan. I mean, no. So yeah, I'm not convinced. And this thing comes with a fairly heavy duty price tag on it. I think it was about 60-70 quid, which is no. So yeah, it's missed on all counts for me. I think I can safely go, no. If and when it hits a bargain bin, perhaps. This is, for me, is 20-25 quid mark mode. I would take the punt and do it, even play it once a year, fine. But at 70 quid, no. No. I mean, I might as well, if it's got a 3-hour game, then really, you might as well just find the time, dig out TI4, because we play 4 players of it. We can play that probably in about 4 hours, maybe 5 at a push. So if I'm going to play a 3-hour, maybe 3.5-hour game of something that isn't really TI4, I might as well just play TI4. That's what I'm saying. So missed on all counts. Not for me. Have a look if you want, if that's interesting. Do you? I don't know. But that was it. That was Gen Con. If there's anything else I missed, then hey, fucking fire it. Let me know, because I really don't think there was anything. And now we've got Essen on the doorstep, so maybe something will come from that. But Gen Con, generally, yeah. Other than wrap up for stuff for me, what else is new for me? What else is going on? Just quick TV rundown or movie rundown. I've been watching Sandman. I'm like 5 episodes into that. Very good. I've read a lot of Sandman many moons ago. It could be decades ago now. I've not read it since. I don't own it. I think I borrowed someone's. I can't remember. It's one I always meant to come back round to, but I vaguely remember bits of it. And I'm enjoying the show. It seems to be capturing, on the whole, most of what I remember from it. It looks good. It's weird. It looks really good. There's moments of it when it looked a bit like a BBC TV cheap bit at certain points, and then no, it doesn't. I don't know. The aesthetic's cool, and it's swinging. It's swinging, and it's hitting on most occasions, to be fair. But it's deep mythology, and it's really not standing around to explain a lot to you. So I can understand why people would just go, what the fuck is going on? Stick with it, I would say, is probably the one thing. So get it to at least episode 4, where kind of things start to make a whole lot more sense. But yeah, really enjoying that. Really good. Prey, I watched that the other day, which is on Disney Plus. It's essentially a new Predator movie, except it's Native Americans or Comanches, or Comanche female Lady Comanche? What the fuck? Warrior. Anyway, she's against the Predator. It's generally pretty good. I would put it up there, top 3 area, I think, for Predator movies. It gets on with it. It doesn't hang around. It's a bit slow start, maybe. Drags its heels a bit at the start, but once it gets cracking, it gets cracking. And it doesn't pull too many punches. It's pretty good stuff. But yeah, I thought it was really good. So that was alright. That was nice. I like Predator. Predator's a fucking cracking movie. It is just stood the test of time. This is a good companion to it. Better Call Saul now is on its penultimate. There's one more to come. Very good. The last couple of episodes have been moments of highs and lows, and I'll say no more. But yeah, I want to see how this is going to pan out. But it is pretty fucking solid. Jamie, I think, has now watched all of it after him not watched any of it. I said, go and watch it. Actually watch it. And I think he's burnt through all 6 seasons, I think, in the last couple of weeks. So that's kind of, if that's your thing, go and do that. But that's it, really. So yeah, I don't know how consistent we're going to be with stuff. I just seem to be it's too hot to be doing this shit. But yeah, stuff is coming. We will still be doing like, share, and subscribe, all the stuff. Charlie's dropped some podcast stuff, actually, for me to do. I'm going to try and do videos of it. I think it's some RPG sessions, so that's a thing I need to look at and see if I can work out how to do that. There's some bits and video I've got to come. I will do some reviews at some point. I just haven't got the fucking time at the moment, but I will try and at least get some consistency of videos coming out. But I'm still here, I'm still alive. It's too hot. It's very hot. So enjoy the summer while it lasts, and I'll be back in touch soon. Have fun. Continue playing games, of course, and all the other shit related to that. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe, Patreon, all the stuff. Do all the things. Thank you, and good night.